So tonight, Rasputin.
Rasputin. So I was sort of thinking, how does the smelliest person in Russia who looks like they're homeless somehow weasel their way into the very core center of the aristocrats of the aristocrats, the czars?
Oh yeah, he
How
got up
does
there.
he was in the ears of fucking everyone of power. You know, he was the one who was we'll get into it, but curing the prince of his ailments. And this unqualified farmer motherfucker with a giant gross beard who apparently smelt awful and was literally just having sex with every single person in the royal family, or at least in the wait staff or the whatever, the servants.
Hmm.
How does somebody make their way into that position? It doesn't make sense to me. When you look at the pictures of Rasputin, it's honestly he's the hammered guy in
I
Russia.
mean, there's you see a picture of Rasputin, and everyone after they've seen it immediately knows it's Rasputin. Like it can't be repeated. Like that was some next level shit. What he was rocking.
Yeah, it gives me Charlie Manson kind of vibes, sort of. You know what I mean? And I think
Mhm.
that's more just the look in the fucking eyes. It's such
Dude, the
an
look in the eyes. Yeah. And, both of them were batshit fucking crazy and they
oh
were
yeah,
able to manipulate people. But that's the thing. It's like you can be a smelly fuck. But if you're like a genius of like manipulating the mind or like, uh,
that's how you get in.
you can get in and they got in. And obviously his big in was
His dick.
being the one who could like heal Alex's hemophilia, right? What was the
Yeah,
son's name? Alexei or some shit.
Alexis or Alexei, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And oh man, I'm gonna butcher all my Russian pronunciations so hard.
I'm not even gonna bother to try for the most part because
Okay.
I know it's just not gonna work
Yeah.
out well. So,
If
get
I might try him. Um, but yeah. So he was able to like honestly like he totally manipulated. Nicholas is his dad.
uh-huh.
Alexandria is his mom. What's the royal family name again?
Uh, I want to say Romanov.
Romanovs.
Yeah, Romanov.
Okay,
I almost
cool.
said Romanovsky to make it sound even more Russian.
The Romanovsky, more Russian.
Romanovskis. Hello.
Yeah.
You
Oh
want some
yeah.
more beer and Borscht? We are the Romanovskis. Hello.
Lutka. Yeah.
Hello. Hey, say hello to our smelly friend in the corner. Don't worry about his beer. He is just fine. You give
By
him
the way,
vodka.
he's gonna have sex with you later tonight, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yo, his gaze. Yeah, his if that dude were to catch eyes with me and like want to fuck me, I'd be out of there so fast. Like how
Yeah.
like he had so much prestige and sway. It was like I bet for a time, like since he was running around with like the upper class, that it was like he was taking advantage of like them thinking that they were hanging out with like a personable human, like someone from the outside.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
It was.
But honestly, when I read those history books, it just sounds like everybody just fucking hated him, like from the minute he got there.
A
And
lot of
obviously,
people.
everyone's gonna fucking hate him because he's like number one right next to the
Right.
czar.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially you could argue that he's essentially the one who essentially kicked off the Russian Revolution that happened in what 1907 or no, it was later than that. It was in World War One. But he was sort of like almost a tipping point of the proletariats and their overall beef with just the gentry class, the czars and the oligarchs. and Rasputin was kind of just a kick in the face of them. So let's go back to just the history of Rasputin, I guess, and like where he came from. He was a farm kid who, when he was like 20 something years old, got involved with this really crazy group of clerks and this weird sort of like offshoot Russian oligarch Christianity sort of group. He never actually joined it, but it was essentially almost like a sex cult of using, and this is again like what we've talked about, the blurring of lines between occult behavior and then also ultra devout Christian behavior, and like, you know, their use of sort of magical rituals
Well, he
to,
definitely went. He went the Gnostic sect, like for sure. Like, you know, he might have had like a front facing Orthodox
yeah,
identity, but yeah, that dude was doing some weird shit in the woods, I'm sure.
absolutely. And that was in the same sort of time period as we talked about in the psychics episode, um, of like Helena Blavatsky, and this rise of sort of occult paganism that was sort of, you know, taking across Eastern Europe and Russia at the time. So he was very much involved in that same kind of wave. I don't think he was as influential as Helena Blavatsky, but he rode sort of her wave of the occult and sort of the blending of the occult, but I guess masquerading as, you know, we're part of a Christian society. But
Yeah,
he was
and
quoted
it
as saying something like, um, I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but that sort of post-coital, I guess, submission or just quieting of the mind. He likened that into sort of him connecting with God, which is what he learned from this, like, you know, offshoot sect in Russia
sounds like he learned how to meditate.
through sex, and then that turned into
Tantra.
people accusing them of just basically having orgies, which
Well,
is
yeah.
probably what was going to happen. You know, that's definitely what was happening.
I mean, you know, you keep feeding the beast, it's gonna get bigger.
And you know what? When the beast gets bigger, you know what that beast needs? It needs more food.
It needs a sex cult.
And then yeah, then eventually it turns into a sex cult. It's a very
Yeah,
quick transition.
yeah.
The beast grows, you got to feed it more, and then all of a sudden you're just having, you know, blood orgies with your stinky dick.
Blood orgies during the full moon. And then
Just
all these girls will come forward and be like, "Yeah, that dude, yeah, it was full shit. He just raped me."
right.
So the
Most
one of the
definitely.
bummer, the thing that bums me out about Rasputin is like, it's like he could have used that his like, because he was kind of like a fucking rock star, and it's like he could have used his, you know, he just never used his power or his skills like for anything outside of himself. He was just like a fucking glutton for life. Like he's a horrible drunk, sex addict,
Yeah.
and like, you know, he didn't do anything to like help the revolts and stuff in Russia happening. And so like ultimately like, you know, I wouldn't put everything on him, but like he has a role to play in like the whole process that went into World War I, if that makes sense. Like
He established a divide within the country. I don't think he had anything to do
like
with like,
his decisions kind of have had pretty big butterfly effects on like what was going on around.
totally.
Kind of what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
His influence on um
On the throne.
yeah, on the czars and the
Yeah.
royal family, like that definitely had a huge part to play in the unrest um within the country entering World War One. And then, you know, the revolution happened in the middle of World War One. So
Mm.
yeah, it definitely, he had his part to play, but he was almost kind of just the drunken party dude who I feel like kind of just fell ass backwards into like, I don't think he was really ultra manipulative to try and gain the power that he had. I think he was almost like a Columbo-esque kind of person, or like, you know, just Mr. Bean, just like stumbling his way into situations and then constantly drunk as shit trying to figure his way out. And
Like a
his
piece of
drunk,
shit bean.
yeah,
That's funny.
exactly. Just a homeless. If Mr. Bean had been homeless on the streets and been just fucking horribly addicted to alcohol for a good 10 to 15 years. Now you got Rasputin. And he's
Dude,
just like,
the way he died, even like for like foreshadows like him being Columbo, Mr. Bean,
right.
because like the dude couldn't even die. Like it took some time for that motherfucker to die.
Yeah. Okay, so the story is, just to give some backward or some background to it. So there was an attempted assassination, I believe, where he got stabbed a couple times in the chest, was able to recover, and then it was like a prince or a duke. I cannot remember his name right now.
Well, let's back up a little bit further really quick because we can talk about how he gets into St. Petersburg. I might have jumped the gun by talking about his death.
We kind of did, but I also want to get this point out while I have it in my head. Let's
Do
just say
it.
this. Let's not explain the death. We'll save that for later on. If you wrote down the way he died in like the script for, I don't know, Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yeah,
it would
pretty
make
much.
perfect sense within the context of that comedy. Like the way it happens is just like we'll get to the details of it, but it's two idiots. One of them is trying to kill the other person, and it's just not working, and it goes on for way too long, and it turns into this whole fucking hullabaloo, and almost like you expect the what's that music? The fucking
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Benny Hill.
yeah.
Like if you
Like
put
classic like British humor.
if you put the Benny Hill soundtrack behind that in a black and white movie, hilarious,
Yeah,
absolutely hilarious. All
yeah.
right, so let's go back
That's
to
pretty
him
accurate.
getting into St. Petersburg after he's been in this fucking weird Christianic cult orgy and starts moving his way into the cities.
Hmm. Um, I think he must have been way more of a. I think he was a genius, but I think he was like a sociopath. I shouldn't say he was a genius. I should say that I think that he was very conscious and aware of what he was doing, and I think he plotted his way to where he went. Um, and I think he used, that kind of front masked Orthodox identity to get him some really big places because he ended up, at a diocese in St. Petersburg that allowed him to go to the court, and he did meet Nicholas and them, and then after learning about what his son was struggling with, I'm sure that he, during his time studying on the more Gnostic occult side, maybe he had some knowledge of, some basic knowledge of medicine and stuff, like a lot of monks did at the turn of the century.
From
And
what I
it
read,
turned,
from what I
Mhm.
read, is he basically stopped them from giving him aspirin, which is a blood
Exactly
thinner,
right. But it
which
was,
isn't something that you want for that
yeah,
condition.
I think I was listening to Last Pod on the Left, and I believe that they said that it was they think that Rasputin would just take him off of ibuprofen, but everyone else was giving him ibuprofen. And so maybe Rasputin understood that the ibuprofen was a blood thinner and that, a hemophiliac shouldn't take it. And instead of coming to the court and letting everyone know, he used it, he was like, well, I'll just take care of your kid full time now because I'm the only one who can do it. Right. He guised his knowledge as magic, you know?
So yeah, once again, I don't know. I don't think that he had the wherewithal. I don't think science or medicine had the wherewithal to know that aspirin was a blood thinner. I think he was just more bold, and he was just lucky so many times where what he said to do happened to be right.
Huh,
I
okay.
don't think he had. I think he was a master manipulator, and I think he definitely was a psychopath in terms of he didn't have emotions, but he had very, very high intelligence, and
Do
he
you
was
think it's just
able.
because he was such a fucking sloppy drunk that he always forgot to give Alexei his ibuprofen?
That's another theory we can throw in the mix, and I
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
theory. I
Yeah.
think that's very appropriate as well. That's another potential
Fair.
answer, but I think he just kept getting sort of those Mr. Bean strokes of luck, but he knew how to roll with the punches and be like, ta-da! I knew all the time if we took him off these drugs that it would make him better. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
he was necessarily
Oh, but no, I don't think he told anybody about the ibuprofen. But
Did he
I don't
not?
know. I fucking wasn't there. I wasn't there.
Neither of us were. Otherwise, we'd be fucking 146 years old.
Either
Um,
way, like he basically became like the sole protector of Alexei,
and
right?
I think that was part of his genius of whether he really knew what he was doing or not, I guess is irrelevant. Even though I lean to the fact that he just got kind of lucky by taking him off the drugs that were making things worse. Um, Either way, attaching himself as the sole savior of the prince, I think that was sort of a coordinated move on his part. And he
Hmm.
knew that if he saved the prince, then he would be in ultimate good favors
Hmm.
with the whole royal family.
And the royal family, the Romanovs were in a really like fragile place in their lineage because Nicholas and Alexandria only had the one son, couldn't really get any other children, and of course, he's a hemophiliac and he's really sick and uh, really susceptible all the time, and it's like that was the last living heir, and so they had to try to figure out how to grow kingdom from where they were, and so the you know maybe rest I'm sure a lot of people understood the fragility of the royal family, and so with that kind of heightened stress on Nicholas and Alexandria, it's like if this person's taking care of, he's not just taking care of our child, he's taking care of our fucking dynasty, you know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it lies on the balance of this kid, you know, and
Well, and
so
that's I think part of what maybe sort of I guess drove a wedge between the ruling class and the proletariat with Rasputin specifically. Is they let him get away with just being a drunk piece of shit.
he could do whatever he wanted.
He he had full reign of everything.
Yeah,
And the czars at the time were fairly strict on the Russian people, much like they have been, not necessarily the czars, but uh, the Russian governments throughout history have been very sort of strict and dominant over the sort of working class people. And I think that's where a lot of the frustrations sort of came from. And Rasputin kind of became almost that scapegoat for everybody to be like, well, fucking, you let this guy fucking get away with this.
yeah,
So what the fuck? And their only excuse is, well, he saved our kid, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Or it's not necessarily the fact that he saved him once, it's that without Rasputin, they were so convinced without Rasputin there is no Alexei.
and
So if we get rid of Rasputin, we're essentially killing our son.
the crazy irony is by uh, keeping Rasputin around, that might have led to the assassination of their entire family.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some deep, deep irony in there
yeah. It's
of
yeah.
literally the entire lineage being just wiped off the face of the earth.
That's Murphy's law to a T.
Yeah,
That whole time in history.
totally. But still, just it's the thing I keep coming back to when I think about Rasputin is just simply the pictures of him with the aristocrats of, St. Petersburg and Moscow, and everyone looks so prim and proper, and then you have just this dirt bag looking
Looks
dude
so raunch,
sitting right
so
next to
raunch.
them,
With
and
this, yeah.
just a long fucking gross beard.
He's got that Eastern Orthodox like monk beard,
Yeah,
right? But it's just thick and it's ratchet. It's rough Siberia. Like maybe there's some bear in his DNA. Like he's just like a been bred to like survive the coldest winter.
yeah.
And
I
like his
couldn't I couldn't imagine the back hair and shoulder hair of Rasputin.
oh man.
Just fucking just afros. He would look like, I picture shirtless. He would look like he'd be wearing football pads made of afro. You know what I mean?
Oh, just woolly mammoth, dude.
And
Bigfoot.
and the bush.
Dude, side note, oh my God, the bush.
The bush, dude.
The bush probably looks like his beard.
And if he has such a long bush to still have the reputation of having such a giant dick, makes it
That's
even more
right.
impressive.
That's right. Apparently he had a massive song.
So I guess let's get to his death, right?
Let's get to his death.
We've kind of gone through his just meandering through the world of the elite and the aristocrats, and just kind of
There was an assassination attempt a couple of years, like a year or two before his actual death too.
yeah, yeah, he got stabbed.
But that wasn't as an exciting of the story as his death.
Well, but it what it did was create a lore, because he already had this sort of like weird mysticism about him, where like nobody knew what the fuck was going on with this fucking weird Rasputin guy. Like he
Hmm.
seems like he's on another plane than the rest of us. And then him
Yeah.
getting stabbed in the stomach 2 times just like mystified him even more and gave him this aura of like, fuck, maybe he is in contact with
Hmm.
like another level of, whatever. Maybe he's in deep with Satan and the occult. Or maybe he is the Christian that is actually being able to communicate with God.
It turned his status up to like demigod, like
If he
and
had if he had played his cards right, he could have been such a fucking good cult leader.
oh yeah,
Like he has
yeah.
that manipulative capacity about him. He has that aura and that sort of mystique around him that people want to follow and want to believe. Like he could have been, a David Koresh, or he could have been like an L. Ron Hubbard. He could have,
Hmm.
if he had played his cards right, especially at that time when all these weird sort of uh, occult, spiritualistic mysticism religions were sort of popping up. He could have, if he had not chosen to like sort of take the easy way out of just being able to get drunk and have sex with whoever he wanted to and be in the good graces of the czars, he could have started his own religion for sure. I'm just realizing that now. Like,
Dude,
could
it's
have been
probably what if like all the things that he did was like the least amount of damage that he could have done to the world.
right. This was him taking it easy.
Right?
He's just like, all right, well, I know I could fuck shit up right now, but let me give you guys a
Like
pass.
maybe he would have started a cult, but he was too drunk all the time. So like his love for vodka saved millions. Um,
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty fair hypothesis. I think that could hold up.
yeah,
That he was just too drunk and like unmotivated. So he's like, fuck it. I'll just charm the shit out of these rich people that are in
yeah,
charge of everything. That's easier than, how hard it is fucking starting a cult. You got to start from the bottom. You got to start with a bunch of losers who don't have any money, and
yeah.
then work your way up until you got Tom Cruise in the mix, and then you got fucking what's his name, fucking John Travolta, and build your way up. It took fucking Scientology, 40 years before it started really fucking making some cash. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Dude, Rasputinology could be like 10 times larger than Scientology.
The requirement is you have to stink like shit and have a fucking big gnarly ass beard.
Nobody pays. We drink vodka from dawn to dusk and we fuck.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome. We are here for the 17th session of the Moscow division of Rasputin. All right, we're going to have somebody come around and check everybody for their stench. Make sure you all smell horrible. If not, we send you out back. We have a pool full of shit, piss, and vomit, so you can pick your choose. And we're also going to take out a ruler, and I'm losing my Russian accent, and I'm turning it into a French accent somehow. And I don't know how that happened. But
You are French people.
I felt so good at it at the beginning, and then I just fucking folded my way into French. And I never do French accents.
Dude, you want to know what the real story is about this? It's a
Sure.
conspiracy, but it's so crazy it just might be true.
Just like
Rasputin.
all conspiracy theories. It's so
Rasputin.
crazy. It just might be true.
It's just might work. Rasputin, if you take out the Ras out of it, is just Putin.
Oh, I already thought of this.
And so maybe he
I'm
didn't
already on
die.
your
Maybe
page, bro.
maybe in the river he like got away, and like in reality he's just a vampire that never ages. And he's like, I need to look different. What do I need to do? I need to bathe and I need to shave. Putin. I need to change
Ah.
my name, but I really like that's Putin. It's got a really good kick to it, you know. I really would like to keep it if I could.
You know, I've never been so much a fan of this race. I've always liked Putin, but I don't really so much like a race. So I'm going to actually fake my death and convince everybody. Grand conspiracy. Very good.
Grand
I'm going to
conspiracy.
tell everybody. Everyone will know.
No one see it coming. Who's this Putin?
No,
We're
everyone will
looking
know.
for Ralph.
No. You misunderstand. Everyone will know that I have huge schlong. I will make that very apparent. I will make sure that everybody know that Rasputin have big schlong. I will use cow schlong and attach it to body. I kill, you know. And now I will just get rid of Ras, and I will be Putin. You know, it's so easy. No one will figure out. Rasputin and Putin, totally different names. And if everyone, please, we have smell requirements, so please get in the bucket of shit, and then you will meet the smell requirements. Okay, everyone in session now. Who has the potatoes? We have potatoes for offering? No? Okay, well, this is Russia. Fuck you. That went off on a weird tangent.
That's a long one.
um,
I lost you towards the end, but it was good.
that's the story of my fucking life, dude. You know what I honestly need? I need you know the classic um oh, what's that fucking place called? Where it'd always be like the black comedians, and if somebody was like running their time or not, or like bombing, they would come in with the big cane and pull them out. That's what I need. I need some dude with a big cane. I need the Russian man with the
Well,
big cane.
you have we have the digital one, which is just anyways.
That helps.
But you know, there's some gold in your rants. So sometimes I just let them go. Sometimes it lets you do it.
You know, usually when I take off down a road, I don't know where it's going. And sometimes it might lead to gold. And sometimes it definitely doesn't. And you know
Fair.
what? We're never gonna know unless we just actually go down the road. So
I think that's a great philosophy.
I've got the time. I got the gas.
Um,
I can move it on down the road and see if we get there. And if
yeah,
not,
yeah.
you know, we had a good journey along the way.
When you go down these rants, it's like, hey, buddy, why don't I take the wheels for a little bit? Like,
I'm like, no, I got this. We're going left.
I like how also you just became Alex Jones.
Well, actually, I wasn't trying to do that. I was just doing aggressive guy, but one and the same to a certain extent.
I wonder what Alex Jones would think of Rasputin.
Well, you know what I would think. As soon as you started talking, I was like, "This is a bait," but I'm definitely going to take the bait.
Yeah.
If I was a fish, I would be caught every single time, and probably be released very quickly. So I'd get on the boat like, and Hillary Clinton is a lizard, and then they would throw me back in the fucking river, and then I would just get caught again by another piece of Alex Jones bait.
Just Alex Jones' voice as they throw the fish back into the river.
And the lizards are coming, and you know, Black Hawk helicopters people are taking over, and George Podesta. Oh, is that a piece of bait? I think that's a pretty accurate metaphor.
It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one.
That's my new character.
I like the muffled fish.
That's my new character called Perpetually Caught Fish. Or Perpetually Catching the Bait Fish. I don't know. I haven't worked it out totally.
Perpetually catfished. No.
Professionally catfished. No, that's oh shit. I had something, but it wasn't gonna work, so I didn't do it.
That's good.
Caught myself.
It doesn't have to be left in.
Yeah, but I knew it wasn't gonna be good. So I'd
Respect.
rather just keep that shame and just disrespect to myself of like I thought of a terrible joke. Not even terrible, but it's just nobody needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Or good.
Um,
That's
I
one thing
probably
I've tried to learn is just, hey man, sometimes we're good.
Yeah.
You know, we're good. We
Yeah.
don't need this thought out of you. Okay. All right.
I'm a big proponent of less is more because I'm very I can get real like I can get sucked into some holes too. And it's like I just gotta like slow down and be like, whoa. Like but I don't know. And like I don't know, I've always been fascinated by and intrigued by the quiet people in the room.
The old man of mystery. Tall, dark, and handsome. Sitting in the corner, not talking to anybody. Sipping on a dry martini by himself, just
Oh,
observing.
I thought you were talking about Aragorn.
Oh, I could have gone that way too.
I thought we were gonna
All
have some like Lord of the Rings fantasy porn going on.
right, we can turn it around. I was going more Madman or Madmen.
Dude, you know what we should do is we should make uh no, never mind. I'm also gonna take advice from you and just not go there.
I guess Rasputin's death, his actual official death. Again, such a comical sort of Looney Tunes kind of way to die. The prince, and I'm gonna look it up so I get his name right. Felix Yusupov and Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich essentially tried to murder Rasputin by poisoning his cake.
Yeah, so they invited him to his palace and
Yeah,
Rasputin went because he's probably so drunk he didn't even fucking smell the trap,
right.
I guess.
Well, and also he's probably so used to just being invited to, princes' palaces or dukes' palaces, and he's probably just like, yeah, this is just another fucking Tuesday evening. I'm probably gonna
Fair.
get my dick sucked by some random chick,
I
and
mean,
I'm
you
gonna
you
get some
think
good
you
food.
think that after an assassination attempt, you'd be more cautious about who's inviting you where, but
Fair.
I think Rasputin had become such a drunken egomaniac by then. I don't know if it would have made a difference.
I think he maybe thought he was sort of untouchable. That maybe like the assassination attempt sort of maybe fed into his own sort of personal psychosis where he sort of was believing his own bullshit so much
Yeah,
so that he was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
fuck, I am God. I am invincible and nobody can kill me. So it might have been a little bit of hubris and arrogance of him just kind of like,
yeah.
oh, you tried
Now,
to kill me once and it didn't work. So fucking try
yeah,
it again. I'm invincible, motherfuckers.
and I mean, dude, motherfuckers got a lot of grit. I mean, the motherfucker's from Siberia, so like when he gets invited to the palace, um, he invites him down to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then proceeds to give him a poison cake and poisonous wine. I think it was just cyanide or something, but like he wasn't affected at all.
Which harkens back in when I think of this, I think of the scene in A Princess Bride where him and the bald guy, what's his name? What are either of their two names? Pirate something. Fuck, whatever. Um, that really pisses me off. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. But the main dude and the fucking bald guy are having the switch off of poisoned wine, and then it just turns out he poisoned both the wines, and he had developed his own sort of antiviral effects or an immunity to it.
Resistance.
And there's a theory that that's
Mhm.
what Rasputin did, which is probably highly highly unlikely.
Which, after an assassination attempt, sounds like a plausible thing, like a very reasonable thing for somebody who just got assassinated to like do.
Yeah. And so then he eats
He
the
doesn't get
cake.
poisoned.
Yeah, doesn't feel any effects. And then the fucking prince stands up and shoots him with a revolver twice in the chest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he falls over and he looks like he's dead. And then like a fucking zombie just opens his fucking creepy black eyes and goes into a mania and starts attacking the prince, who then flees like up the stairs out of the basement, and they like sort of chase each other. Or does Rasputin like wrestle him off and then he runs?
I think another person that there was with Felix. I think gunned him down,
Yeah, I think he in
and then I
total.
think there was a final kill shot on the forehead that apparently, like, judging by the blow, was like a super close shot to the
Yeah,
forehead. So I think Rasputin, when he was running out to escape, one of Felix's accomplices plugged him.
but just like that's
There's I guess so like we'll never know exactly what happened, but there I think I think Prince Felix has a document of what happened. Grab it really quick. I can't find the exact quote, but I think the official report from Felix was that he gave Rasputin tea and cake. Um, they didn't take, and then so he grabbed his gun, shot him. So I guess he shot him in the chest, and then I guess what they did is they drove to Rasputin's home and dressed up like him and entered into his house, so it looked like Rasputin got home. And
yeah.
then when he returned to the palace to collect Rasputin's body, Rasputin jumped up and attacked him. And
Oh,
then
I remember that now.
as he was fleeing the courtyard, one of Felix's accomplices, Vladimir, coincidence, Vladimir Putin.
Oh,
Uh,
hello, my name is Vladimir Rasputin.
so I think he had the final kill shot on him, and then they threw him into the river.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm remembering that now. So yeah, he fell over from the two shots. They thought he was dead for a long time. And then he just kind of magically reawakens and just starts going berserker mode and attacking everyone in the room. And then gets up and runs away into the courtyard and gets shot for the final time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm looking up now is that on that terrible December night, legend says that Prince Felix Yusupov cut off Rasputin's penis and tossed it away. The severed penis was then taken to Paris, where it was worshipped and used for weird cult rituals. The current owner of this penis bought it for $8,000, and it now
Jesus.
resides in the Museum of Erotica in St. Petersburg. But it is probably just a cow's penis. So
Most likely.
this is coming off of cultofweird.com. So take everything with just a mountain of salt, if you will. But
Wait, what was the name of that website? I have to see it.
Cultofweird.com. The article is called Rasputin's penis : obvious joke there, but we'll leave it. The mythical magical manhood of Russia's mad monk. Say that 5 times fast. Dare ya. So yeah, that's another thing that kind of just like fed into this dude's lore and why he's sort of maybe remembered today is he used a cow's dick and pretended it was his. And maybe he faked his own death and he escaped and left a cow's dick as the only evidence. We don't know.
Oh man, they got it in this gross ass jar.
Yeah, I decided we're definitely not going to put that up on the
No,
YouTube
dude. No,
because
you
that's
can't.
not that's going to get flagged pretty quick.
It's got its balls and everything.
I'll definitely be putting up some pictures of just like how gross and weird Rasputin himself as a guy looks, because I
Yeah.
think that's definitely important for people to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess a very mysterious, weird comic book like end that is very befitting to a sort of comic book like origin story
Yeah.
of a guy who controlled a lot of the power in, you know, one of the most prolific countries at the time in the early 1900s. And he was a, you know what, he was a bag of shit dirtbag, and I think that should be used as inspiration for all of us, that if Rasputin can do this, so can you. You know? If Rasputin can rise
Ryan's
to the
about to get
top,
canceled.
you know,
The government's got your number.
I'm not saying revolutions, anything like that. I'm just saying, like, you know, work hard, perseverance, be a sociopath or a psychopath if you can get to that level, and manipulate everyone around you so that you can rise to the top, and then be murdered in the basement of a Russian prince's castle.
After having wine and cake, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too. And that's one to grow on.
I think that's a great end.
I feel like that's the best dismount we've ever had.
That is the best dismount ever.
That was the perfect wrap up and synopsis.